Hello everybody, it's just Francine here from New Zealand. I've been getting a lot of questions about doing different designs for Christmas. Well, this is one that I like to do and I like to share and use for many different events. You can use it for Christmas, Easter, Diwali, you can use it for all sorts of different events that you might have, special events. So anyway, I'm going to show you how I've made this one for Christmas this time. So I've got a lovely urn here, lovely ceramic urn that I'm going to be using. And to hold it in place, I like to use a bit of dowel. So I measure it so that I can put it in here and I can just spike my sphere onto the top, drop it into the container and poke it through, and then I don't have to worry about it moving at all. It actually holds it nice and firm. If you're traveling and you're doing a different shape, you may want to pot tape it down, but you won't need to if you do it this way. So now that I've got my pre-soaked, this is my wet oasis sphere here, I've pre-soaked it in water, and then I'm going to be using some ivy. Now ivy is fabulous to use, but you can use any climbing vine that you've got that will hold. So I've got my long ivy trails here, and I'm going to poke the stem that I cut, poke that in, and I want this quite a rustic design, so I'm just going to wrap it around this container. Now I also do the same concept when I'm doing wreaths and different constructions like that, or different designs. I use the lengths of the ivy because I like the rhythm that's created by the stem that we're using. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep overlaying it. So I'm inserting it below the one below and just popping it in, and then it sort of threads into each other, putting a few mossing pins. Now these are called mossing pins, and they're a steel pin that's got a U-bend on the top, and I'm just mossing pin them into place, and that'll hold them nice and firm. Now if you don't have these, you can use bended wire. I make like little pins that way, but if you can get a hold of the mossing pins, they're much easier to work with. And I'm just overlaying it, inserting it in between the leaves of the one that I put in before, and then I'm just mossing pin them in to secure it into place. Now the reason why I'm doing this is so that I can have a nice base to my design. So just put a little bit in there, moss pin that one into place. Nice base to my design. So when you'll see when I've actually done this design and it's completed, the reason why I'm doing it this way, it's quite a clever way of actually making this. There's lots of uses, which is what I like. Now this is one that that children are going to love, and other family members, even the big kids or the big children. It's a very welcoming design to have in your home, on your dining room table or on your sideboard. Or you can do these as big as you want. If you're doing a massive big installation, you could actually do these ones and have giant versions of these with bigger fruits on them. So I've got a selection of fruits that I'm going to be using. Mainly today I'm just using strawberries actually, so it's not a great selection, but you can use all kinds of things to do this design. And it's an entertainment piece that you can share with your friends. It's a really good one to do if you want to do a gift for someone for Christmas, for another event. So I've just got that just covered now. It's very random. It's like a bad hair day, really. So I've got all the ivy random. Now in between you're going to see the foam. So what I've got here is I've got some moss, and I'm just going to insert the moss in between. This is going to give me a rest area and also give me a textural contrast when I'm doing it. So I'm putting the moss in, and again I'm mossing pinning it into place. I'm coming down over the side of the container. Just mossing it in. As you can see, I've got a little bit of moss. I'll keep turning it around as I'm working, and just tuck it in underneath the ivy and the little gaps that you've got there. I'll pop a bit more in here. Keep working your way around. And it's a really good one that you can have these all pre-done. And as the flowers finish, once we've put our flowers in, when they're finished, you can just keep adding new flowers, because they'll find that the ivy and the moss, of course, are going to hold. So that's going to make quite a difference, so that you can just pop in fresh flowers as you need to. And I sometimes will reuse these spheres by inserting tubes into them as well, test tubes, and putting flowers in there if I wanted to, especially for some flowers that don't like to be in foam. Another thing that you can do is, if it's hard to get flowers at the moment, you can use cones, like pine cones or little cones that you've got. Other dried seed heads you could put in here as well. So really it's just using whatever you've got around to be able to do this. I'm just putting a little bit more moss in here. Keep tucking it in. Working my way around. Clean off my table. Turning it around a bit more. So now I've got the moss in here. Still a few gaps, but the reason why I've got that is I've got pre-wired some little Fatshedera. So this is a cross between ivy and Raelia Fatshedera. is like Fatsia japonica and Hedera helix, which have been crossed, and it's a wonderful strong leaf. And now I'm giving it a friend, so I'm always putting one in and giving it another one to keep it company. So turning it around, and that gives me a rest area for where I can put my plant material. So there's a lot of pattern happening because of the variegation on the ivy and also the texture of the moss. So this just gives your eye just like a little bit of a rest area when you're doing this design. Also gives a bead for sitting your fruit on or whatever you're using, just somewhere else to pop it in there. So keep doing these in little groupings around. Just doing a couple of little groupings in through here. Taking it around a little bit more. Popping a couple more in here. Take a few up into the top here as well, so the eye goes right through. Bring some over the top. Again, just a couple in through there, and I might put one more just in through here. So at the moment, this is my base. So I've got my ivy first, then I put in a little bit of moss in between, and now I've got my green leaves that I've got in there. So now what I'm going, I might even just put this one last bit of ivy, and I rather like this bit of ivy. It doesn't matter if I put it in there. I'm going to try and wrap that up and over a little bit. I just feel like I need a little bit more coming over. At this stage, I would probably embed my LED lights. So I've got some LED lights. These are a strand of LED lights, and they run on a little battery pack. So you can hide the battery pack, and what you do is you just wrap it around. I turn them on when I'm doing this, so I can make sure that I've got the lights going over the whole design, not just part of the design. So bring that through and just hide your battery pack in underneath the moss. So now I've got my battery pack in there. Now I'm going to be using here, this is my rose out of the garden, and this one is called Dublin Bay, and it's a beautiful red rose. So I'm just going to pop a couple of these in. So it's really whatever you've got, and it's about doing the groupings. We don't want it to look like you've got a lot of dots in there, so I tend to group my flowers when I'm doing this and taking my colour right through. So I've got, instead of just giving it one, I'm going to give it a friend there just to keep it company. And then I've got a few that I'm going to pop around this way. Just turn this around a little bit. Another one over through here. And then I've got a few buds. I like to use the rose buds too. It has another volumetric form that you can use. So I'm just going to pop a few of the rose buds in through here and do them in a little grouping. They look really good if they group them together. And then making sure that you take some up through the top as well. Now, like I say, you can embed these, but if you're worried, you can always put test tubes in them and insert the little spiked tubes in there and just refresh your flowers. So this is going to last for quite some time. And that's what we want when we're doing our flowers. So now I've got my roses in there. So I've done my ivy, got the moss, got my leaves here for rest areas. Now I've got my volumetric forms of my roses, but whatever you've got, you can use. And I've done my lights. Now what I'm going to do is I've got here some strawberries. So I'm going to put my strawberries on little sticks. Put them on the little sticks in here. And the strawberries are great. Now this is a really good entertainment piece because people can come along, help themselves to the fruit on a bigger scale. Think about scale and proportion. So you can go and use something like apples or citrus fruit, but apples look really nice when you're doing it with the apples. And also that colour of the red strawberries brings it through. And it's to have this so that people can just sit at the table and they can just pick a bit of fruit out. And it just has a really nice touch to your Christmas table. It looks amazing with bunches of grapes hanging down as well. I'll just put a few more here where you can see what I'm doing. And I've got them on nice kebab sticks so that they can just sort of spike in there, holds them into place. Another one down in through here, pop another one in there. They look nice too if you coat them with chocolate. So you can add another texture in there and another look. Put one out through the back here. So now I've got my strawberries in there. Now we're going to put in some Christmas baubles. So I've got some Christmas baubles, and what I've done here is I've just inserted them into the little hanging piece here and just put the kebab sticks in there. And I want to disperse these over because this is my Christmas design, this one. And I've got shiny ones, and I'm thinking about the textures, so that's why I've gone shiny and matte, and some glitter ones, and just putting them right through. So I'll turn them around, and I'm bringing through the colour of my container into what I'm doing here. So just popping a few more of these in through here. And you can do like little versions. I've got like a little urn here that you can do like little versions for friends, which is great to give away as a Christmas gift or as a special gift if you've got a special function coming up. I'll pop that one in through there. A bit of shine, a bit of dull. Another one in through there. Pop that one in, if it'll go in there. Might need to put it down a bit lower. That's it. So I've got my Christmas baubles in there. Now what I've done here is I've got some Christmas stars, and these ones I've just bought, just the Christmas decorations, and on the back I've got a little glue dot, and then I've put a little bit of wire and I've bent it to make like a little foot, and I'm just going to put some stars in now just to give it a little bit of glitter. Put my Christmas stars through, bring them around. Another one in through here. I'll put another one up here actually. So just disperse them through your design like so. So now I've got my stars, and now what I might do is I've got a little bit of amaranthus here, and I just want to bring it so that I'll bring those down over the side a little bit. So this is preserved amaranthus, which is a really nice amaranthus to use, and I'm just going to anchor it in with a mossing pin there just to get that to hold into place. Got a little bit more here. I'm going to bring it up to step my eye up and just slightly offset it so I can pop that up in there. That looks nice. Tuck it in underneath so it's coming down over the container. Now this is the best bit, and the children are going to love you for this, even the big kids. So I've got here some chocolates. These are the Ferrero Rochers, but any sort of chocolates. Have a look at the colour harmony you're doing, and when you go to buy your sweets, buy them where the wrapping matches your design. And I prefer to use like the little round ones that come in. It matches the design. So I'm just going to put in here some of the chocolates. So when people take these out, you've still got a design in underneath, so it doesn't matter, and you can just keep topping it up. So let's put a few more in through here. You have to watch it though, because it becomes a little bit addictive, and it can cost a lot when you've got to keep buying chocolates because you've got to test them, you know, to make sure that they're okay. So I'm going to put a few more in here, turn this around a little bit. Grab a few more. So I've just got sticks here that I'm just spiking into that. I want to keep the little backings on there. Whoops, a dozy. Little backing on there. Pop that in through there. Another one here. Like I say, it makes a lovely gift, and you can use just whatever you've got. If flowers are hard to get, think about some of your dried bits and pieces that you've got around, because it still looks very nice with a bit of dried plant material in through here. I'm going to cut that one off. That one can go into there. Another one out and through here. And I've got my chocolates in there, my Christmas baubles. A bit of a sweep off on my table so that you can see what I've done. And that is how you make a Christmas design. And you can do these high like this, have a series of them at different heights on the table. You can make them in a cone shape, all sorts of different shapes that you can do. You can have some low dishes of just round spheres of flowers with fruits and things on the low table as a big table centerpiecing, and a couple of bigger designs, but also some larger ones in your entranceway. Other options you can do is you can get some formium or some flax, and you can roll it, and you can do curls of this in through here too if you wanted to have like another fresh design. There's lots of options, and it's basically just using what you have. So have a wonderful day, everybody. Now I'm going to be sharing Christmas designs over the next couple of months. Well, what is it? It's only 6 weeks till Christmas. So I'll keep sharing them, and you can, like I say, you can use them for other events as well, not just Christmas. So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day.